Hello and welcome to the Bald Truth Review, Episode 4. For those of you who are new to this show, what it is a sort of a week in politics, as run by the Jersey Evening Pravda, only with facts replacing the propaganda. Anyway, I've got some good stories for you this week, and only one of them happens to be about our not fit for purpose justice system. So I think we'll save that one up for last. But how I want to start this week is with a special leak, because we like leaks on this programme, don't we? And this leak is about the Electoral Commission, because as you've probably noticed, you must have noticed by now, Monday sees the launch of the findings of the Electoral Commission, led by Sir Philip Balash. Now, when former Deputy Daniel Wimberley's independent commission proposals got hijacked by the democracy terrorists, we progressives were really worried that that was our last chance gone of getting proper reform and achieving a system that was fair for everyone. But no, protested Senator Balash. Fairness will be our byword. Indeed, he actually said those words to me. So, with this week's leak, let's put you all out of your misery now and tell you actually what's going to be put before you on Monday. Who's right? Would it be the senator or would it be we progressives who were so concerned? Well, what the Commission have come up with is keeping 12 constables and having 30 deputies in half a dozen super constituencies. What this basically means is that nothing's changed since Senator Balash and his colleagues, Constable Juliet Galashaw and Deputy James Baker, started this process. You have to ask, what have we been paying for? Anyway, where will this end up? Because the problem, as the progressives always pointed out, was you could either have a fair, balanced system where everyone had an equally weighted vote, no matter which parish you lived in, or you could keep the constables. That was the stark choice. Well, I can tell you now that Senator Balash and his commission have gone for keeping the constables. Now, still on the theme of electoral reform, something else came to my ears this week through my ministerial mole. I obviously can't tell you who he or she or it is, but this revolves around party politics. Now, regardless of the propaganda we've heard in Jersey over the last few years, people who really understand politics will tell you that a party political system is the best way to achieve transparent and accountable government. And this is simply because a government can be elected on its policies, and if it fails to deliver, you can reject them on its policies. Reject them in one go at a general election. Now, although some of us have always been converted to this party political system being the best way forward, it came to me from our ministerial mole that there might be a new convert in Jersey. And apparently this new convert is none other than Senator Philip Balash. So, where could that take us? Where could it take us for the next elections? Obviously, I can't predict what's going to happen, but what I would say to you is keep your eyes open, and perhaps we should all get down to honest nevs and see which way the odds are going. The next big story that's really jumped out this week has surely got to be about land rezoning and all these allegations that were made about corruption in high places, large-scale corruption. Well, we read in the mainstream media, the state media this week, that former Senator Terry Limar had been cleared of all allegations. Good news, but of course it was a bit confusing because, like most people, I thought only courts could actually clear people. I don't think there's been actually a court case about it. So that's a question that's got to be answered. But in listening to the senator talk about his relief after the persecution he's apparently suffered, one question kept nagging away at me. There's one big question that our state media have not asked. The question is this: how could it be that a complaint, an email complaint sent to the police, former Police Chief Graham Power as it happened, by a deputy on behalf of constituents could then end up in the hands of the former bailiff. Now, like you, I know that our separation of powers is a complete farce, frankly, but even I cannot see the link between how a bailiff could be involved in a police investigation. Someone needs to ask this question. I don't think it's going to be the state media, so I'm asking it now. How could a complaint made to the police chief, a police chief who was then very quickly suspended, as it happened, purely by coincidence, I'm sure, how could that complaint end up in the hands of a bailiff? And the deputy who sent it, on behalf of her constituents, be called into that bailiff's office for a grilling. This is a serious issue and it needs answers, and we haven't had them so far. And actually there's another story which involves our former Senator Lamar, because this week we heard with the budget we're going to pump in 18.8 million into regenerating our housing. Is that good news? Well, of course it is, because as a St Helier number 1 deputy, I can tell you that I've seen accommodation that I wouldn't put a dog in. Certainly not a dog I was then going to charge top rate rent. But why do I mention this now? Because the key issue here is that if housing had been looked after properly over the decades, we wouldn't be needing to put all this money into it now. We could be diverting some of it to other much needed projects. But who was in charge of housing when it got into this terrible state of disrepair? Well, for around a decade, it was none other than former Senator Lamar. Now, we really couldn't have a Bald Truth review without talking about the justice system, could we? Because it's the justice system, as I've said so many times, that's right at the core, right at the heart of so many of the problems in Jersey. Now, this week, I was putting my state's questions in, and I wanted to ask about the issue of jurats and what happens if an individual is found to be not a fit and proper person to actually sit as a jurat, sit in judgment over ordinary people in a court of law. Perhaps a sort of individual who has been shown in a report, like the Sharp report, to have helped conceal child abuse to protect the good name of a college. I put my question in, and what happened? It was knocked back. Who knocked it back? The bailiff, an unelected judge who sits in the island's parliament, and here he is telling me, an elected representative of the people, what I can and cannot ask. The basis of the argument as to why I couldn't ask this is it's not for a states member, a politician, to ask about issues such as jurats and who is a fit and proper person. Apparently, it's up for the superior number to decide. And for viewers who don't know, the superior number is basically the judge, the island's chief judge, the bailiff, and the rest of the jurats. Basically, a jurat who is not a fit and proper person would have his future decided by his friends. Is that acceptable? Can it work? Of course it can't. They're so conflicted. If ever any evidence was needed that Jersey's system is in need of a complete overhaul, then I think this is it. Now I'm going to end this week on the issue of Leah McGrath-Goodman, the American journalist and best-selling author, who I organised a petition for to try and help get her visa status reinstated so she could come back to Jersey. For those of you new to this story, Miss Goodman was trying to come back to Jersey, where she's been many times, to continue her research into Haute Le Garenne and the historic abuse scandal. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I organised a conference call with immigration, which involved Leah herself, live from America, and myself as a sort of impartial observer. And I was really positive about that meeting because I thought that finally we'd found a way forward. It seemed that what Miss McGrath-Goodman needed was a writer's visa, which, as we learnt, didn't exist in the UK, didn't exist anywhere apart from Jersey and Guernsey. I was quite happy with the outcome. We seemed to be getting somewhere. Yet today I learn that we're actually no nearer at all getting Miss McGrath-Goodman's status reinstated. This writer's permit, it seems, just doesn't exist. What Miss McGrath-Goodman's been sent is a form relating to UK ancestry. All she needs is a business visa, which allows her to come in for 6 months. Yet, for some reason, she can't have that. Now, I have to say, our petition has already gained some considerable international publicity. Democracies do not ban journalists, do they? Unless they've got something to hide. And I have to say that I will be in touch with immigration again today. And if I've not got some positive answers by next Tuesday when we go into the States, then I will be making this matter globally public. I'll be taking it to a new level. We can't have journalists being banned from Jersey just because what they're investigating might be uncomfortable for some. Okay, I'm going to leave you there, but all I would ask you to do on this story is click on the link to the petition to restore Miss Goodman's status. Please click on it, sign it, and get anyone else you know who's interested in democracy to do the same. Get involved, because remember, if you don't do politics, politics will do you.